I met her on Tinder, a swipe right that would haunt me for the rest of my life. Her profile picture showed a smiling, attractive woman with deep, mysterious eyes that seemed to draw me in. We chatted for a while, and our conversations soon turned from lighthearted banter to intimate confessions. Her name was Sarah, and she was unlike anyone I had ever met before. As our connection deepened, we decided to meet in person. She suggested a quiet, remote cabin deep in the woods, a place she claimed was her secret getaway from the world. It sounded like the perfect setting for a romantic rendezvous, and I agreed. The day arrived, and I drove for hours through winding roads and dense forests to reach the cabin. It was a picturesque place, surrounded by tall pine trees that seemed to whisper secrets to the wind. But as I approached, an uneasy feeling gnawed at my gut. The cabin looked old and abandoned, with moss-covered shingles and broken windows. I hesitated but decided to go inside. Maybe this was her idea of a thrilling adventure, I thought. The moment I stepped through the creaking door, the musty odor of decay and neglect filled my nostrils. The interior was dark, illuminated only by weak rays of sunlight filtering through the tattered curtains. "Sarah?" I called out, my voice trembling. A soft, melodious giggle echoed from the shadows, making me jump. She appeared from the darkness, her face half hidden, casting her in an eerie silhouette. Her eyes gleamed with an unnatural intensity, and I felt a shiver crawl down my spine. "You made it," she purred, her voice sending shivers through me. "I've been waiting for you." I forced a smile, trying to shake off my unease. "Yeah, it's quite a place you've got here." Sarah led me further into the cabin, and I noticed odd symbols scrawled on the walls in what appeared to be dried blood. My heart raced, but I dismissed it as some macabre sense of decor. As the day wore on, we tried to connect like we had online, but Sarah seemed different. Distant, her demeanor shifting between moments of warmth and ice-cold detachment. There were times when her laughter turned shrill and manic, and I couldn't help but feel trapped in this decaying cabin in the middle of nowhere. Night fell, and I began to feel an overwhelming sense of dread. Sarah suggested we light some candles to create a more intimate atmosphere, but the flickering flames only seemed to emphasize the shadows lurking in every corner. We sat across from each other at a rickety wooden table, and I couldn't help but notice that the table was adorned with strange objects: a rusty knife, a bundle of dried herbs, and an old weathered book with pages covered in cryptic symbols. "What's all this?" I asked, my voice trembling. Sarah's lips curled into a sinister smile. "Just a few trinkets, darling. Don't worry about them." I should have left then, but fear and curiosity held me in place. That's when she began to tell me a story that sent shivers down my spine. "Long ago," she began, her voice low and haunting, "this cabin was home to a woman named Isabella. She was said to be a witch, and she used to lure innocent souls into these woods. She would seduce them, just as I've seduced you. And then she would perform dark rituals to consume their essence, leaving behind only empty husks." I stared at her, a lump forming in my throat. "Is this some kind of joke?" Sarah's laughter was chilling. "Oh, it's no joke, my dear. The legend goes on to say that Isabella's spirit still haunts this place, seeking new souls to feast upon." I wanted to scream, to run, but a strange force held me in place as Sarah continued her tale. "She had a particular fondness for women, you see," Sarah whispered, leaning closer. "Beautiful women, just like you." Suddenly, the room grew colder, and the candles flickered wildly. I could feel a presence in the room, something dark and malevolent. Panic surged through me as I realized that I was not alone with Sarah. There was something else here. Sarah's eyes darkened, and she whispered something in a language I couldn't understand. The symbols on the walls seemed to come to life, glowing with an eerie crimson light. I tried to stand, but my body felt heavy, like I was sinking into the chair. The shadows in the room began to writhe, and I saw grotesque shapes moving in the periphery of my vision. I wanted to scream, but no sound escaped my lips. Sarah's face contorted into a grotesque mask of delight as she chanted louder. And then, from the shadows, a figure emerged. It was a spectral, ethereal form, a woman with hollow eyes and a wicked grin. Isabella. I watched in horror as Isabella approached, her bony fingers reaching out to touch me. I could feel her icy grip on my skin as she whispered in my ear, promising eternal torment and suffering. Tears streamed down my face, and I begged for mercy, for release from this nightmare. But Sarah just laughed, her laughter merging with Isabella's haunting wails. The room spun, and I felt myself slipping away, losing consciousness. When I woke up, it was morning, and the cabin was bathed in sunlight. I was alone, my body aching, and my mind reeling from the horrors I had witnessed. I stumbled out of the cabin, desperate to escape that cursed place. As I made my way back through the woods, I couldn't shake the feeling that something had followed me. The wind whispered eerie secrets, and the trees seemed to reach out with twisted branches. I never saw Sarah again, and I prayed that I never would. That night in the cabin was a waking nightmare, a harrowing encounter with a darkness I couldn't comprehend. To this day, I wonder if it was all real or just a hallucination brought on by fear. But one thing I know for certain is that I will never swipe right on Tinder again, for fear of what horrors might await in the depths of the digital world. And the memory of that bone-chilling night in the cabin will haunt me until the end of my days, a constant reminder of the darkness that lurks in the shadows, waiting to consume unsuspecting souls.